England Beer Reviews Live. First time I've tried a YouTube live broadcast on my own anyway. I have gone into a few hangouts in the past, which do go live. This is a hangout. And I figured I'd give it a shot because I want to talk about a new beer that is new from the Boston Beer Company of Massachusetts. It's the Sam Adams New England IPA. And it's 6.8% alcohol by volume with 35 international bitterness units. It comes in a can, and it says right out here that it is hazy. Let's see, it says here, developed in New England, which makes sense, hazy and juicy. So as we all know, or as a lot of people in the craft beer community know, the New England IPA seems to have taken off as sort of a big style that people really like. And I figured it was about time for Sam Adams to do the same. So looks like that's what they've done. So I'm going to get right into this and see what it's like. Now, I've never done this broadcast live. Everything looks backwards to me. So I'm hoping we'll see how it looks like on the air. So give it a pour into this vintage Sam Adams glass. Kind of ironic you talk about vintage, but it's probably 30 years old at least. And take a look at this opaque, like a cross between orange juice and and grapefruit juice. And it's got this pale yellow color with this big, foamy, soft, silky white head. The aroma on this, you're getting citrus, and you are getting orange a little bit, getting fruit, with this soft red character playing up underneath. It's very delightful. It smells more fruity than anything else, citrusy. So it's kind of what you would hope you might get in the style. Time for the taste. Soft white bread. A nice pale malt character, a nice sweetness. And when I was getting a whole lot of bitterness on the nose, I should say bitterness, fruitiness on the nose, I'm not getting as much bitterness in the taste. It is 35 IBUs. The average beer, the one that's kind of well known to the world, is around 10 to 15. There are some IPAs that get up to upwards to 100 IBUs. Those come out really bitter and almost like pucker up bitterness. This one is more subtle. This one's more kind of mellow and laid back with a good sweet character leading up to the fruitiness and the citrus characters in there as well. The mouthfeel on this, the body mouthfeel, is smooth for sure. I'd put it in the light to medium range, and just smooth and easy on the palate, not too heavy. I wondered if I might get, I mean, this is opaque, as you can see. It's very opaque. Let's try it this way. Very opaque. But I thought maybe I might see some types of sediment floating about. I don't. Now, I'm not exactly sure when this was brewed. It does have an expiration date on this. The expiration date on this is April of 2018. This is January of 2018. So technically, it's got 3 months left before it's supposed to go bad. But I'm not sure what kind of time frame Sam Adams uses for the shelf life of their beer. April, I suppose they could have put this out in November, maybe December. And these kind of beers you want to drink as fresh as possible if you really want to enjoy and experience the hop characters that have become so predominant in the style. And I really find it kind of ironic. I've lived in New England all my life, and suddenly the New England IPA seems to have just sort of taken off as the style that everybody's got to have. And I just don't, I don't mind it. It's kind of a variation on the West Coast IPA, which came out, 10, 15 years ago, perhaps. And but it's meant to be milky and foggy in color. It's meant to be really like this. It's supposed to, you can't really see through it. That's how these beers are supposed to be. Anyway, it's a decent beer. It's a breadiness, as I mentioned, a sweetness. It's easy to drink. So for those of you who are not fond of the New England IPAs because they might be just too bitter, this one might be a little more manageable for you, might be a little more approachable for you because it does have a nice sweetness, plus all those vibrant hoppy characters do come up, but not to the point where they kind of knock you on your feet, knock you off your feet. So I don't know, I think it's a good beer from Sam Adams. I mean, I think they put out good beers. Some people don't. Some people, I wouldn't say don't, but some people criticize them, maybe because they've gotten so big. And, you know, in the 80s, when they first started out, they were block, as it were. And now they've become a big company. Their beer can be found pretty much anywhere. This one was only released in some select states at first, and then it went out nationally, or if it hasn't yet, it's going to, because that's what they said on their website, that it would be released in a few select states, and then ultimately would go out on a wider states or more states and a wider delivery area, which I guess is good because there are some people in other parts of the country who have never ever been able to try a New England IPA. And it is an experience worth trying at least once if you're into craft beer. It is different than the West Coast. The West Coast does have a lot of the same characteristics, but the body on these New England IPAs is meant to be smoother and softer, more delicate, and of course, opaque in color. You know, it's supposed to look unfiltered. And whereas that's not the same case, I think, for the West Coast IPAs. But taste-wise, although those tend to be a little more bitter in my experience, but taste-wise, they have a lot of similarities to them. But and the biggest problem with these New England IPAs, although just about everyone in New England's doing them these days, so it's a little different when you live in New England. It's a little easier to come by. But a lot of the places that have some of the better ones are the ones that are most popular. I won't say better, but the ones that are most popular, like Treehouse in Massachusetts, Trillium, Massachusetts, The Alchemist in Vermont, Bissell Brothers in Maine. When you go to those places, you have to wait in long lines to get access to the cans. You might have to wait half hour sometimes. Wait there and just wait for your turn, and then you're only limited on the number of cans that you can buy and take home with you. Whereas Sam Adams is large enough that they can put this out on a bigger scale and to make it available to a wider group of people who can enjoy the style without having to wait in long lines. So anyway, I thought I'd try this live broadcast. I've never done it before on my own, so that'll do it for now. This is the Sam Adams New England IPA. So thanks for stopping by. I'll catch you again next time.